Hello and welcome to Freya's Tropical Garden. This is the July episode. We've had such a hot month. I hope you've all been coping okay with the heat. I hope your gardens have been coping okay with the heat. We've been doing really well as a channel as well. We're now nearly at 2,000 subscribers. So if you're not yet subscribed to this channel, please hit the subscribe button because that really does help this channel to grow. Now here's what we've got coming up for you in today's episode. We take a look at the temperate and tropical fern zones in Kew Gardens. We look at 15 hardy foliage plants suitable for UK tropical gardens. There's the draw for my last competition, and I introduce my new competition to win a hibiscus plant. But first, let's see what's been happening in my garden since the last episode. In the south of Hampshire, the drought has continued throughout most of July, although we have now had some refreshing downpours, which the garden has needed, and temperatures have dropped for the last week. We've not been affected by hosepipe bans in our area, and remarkably there hasn't been one since the 70s. However, water conservation is always recommended, and I'm sure that for many of you, watering your gardens at this time of year has been a challenge. If you haven't yet seen the video in my last episode on Hampshire carnivorous plants, this is worth checking out as it includes some water conservation advice, and I've put a link in the description. Has your garden been affected by the weather this year? Please let me know in the comments below. As well as the drought, we've also had some windy days, which has shredded the leaves of the Musa Basjoo bananas. This is how they protect themselves from wind naturally, and actually the shredded look is in some ways therefore much more tropical. But not everybody likes it when the beautiful large leaves get torn up. Which do you prefer? One of my bananas is flowering and starting to produce small bananas along the flower stalk. These bananas will not be edible and the plant will die, but in its place several new pups will emerge. Flowering often occurs early when the plant goes into distress, and in this case it appears to have been caused by me digging up a dead palm tree next to it and disturbing the roots too much. However, many plants have come along well since my last garden update. My Musa Sikkimensis is producing new pups with striking red and green foliage. These markings are always stronger when the plant is young, and as you can see, they are much less pronounced in the larger plant. Last month I showed you my tree fern, which was being overtaken by my gunnera. This has now been potted up, and I can finally see the small trunk that has developed since I bought it 5 years ago. This is my Puya Chilensis, otherwise known as the sheep-eating plant, due to these nasty, sharp spines, which in its natural environment can trap sheep and llamas. They then starve to death and decompose, feeding the plant. Of course, I don't feed mine animals, but I have just repotted it as it was overhanging the smaller pot it was in, and the spines hooked into my hand every time I tried to get to nearby plants. While repotting it, I divided one of the pups from it, which is now available for sale, so if you're looking for a Puya Chilensis, feel free to email me. My contact details are available at the end of this episode. I planted my Strobilanthes Dyeriana, or the Persian Shield, just over a month ago, because I needed it to have a good growing period this summer, after I pruned it very hard in spring to get lots of cuttings. It's coming back nicely now, with this beautiful, deep purple foliage. And again, if anyone's looking for this plant, I have a few cuttings available now. I have several varieties of hibiscus, although many of them are still small. My Hibiscus Syriacus is flowering now, and I have a few small cuttings of this available. My Hibiscus Carousel has been planted in the ground, and is now growing much better there than last year when I kept it in a pot. I can't wait for this plant to flower, as it will have lovely, large, deep red flowers. Over winter, my Hibiscus Cameronii started to die back when I missed watering it, and since then just a small green area of wood remained at the bottom of the stem. It has only just started to grow back earlier this month, but I also have 2 new seedlings of this now. Last month I reported that my Alstroemeria had stopped flowering after I divided it, but it is now producing plenty of flowers and looks as beautiful as ever. My cannas are growing really quickly now, and they were still quite short last month. Now it's becoming more obvious which of these red leaf varieties was my Canna Russian Red, which grows 8 foot tall in a single season. The other variety only grows to around 5 foot and clearly doesn't have as much height at this point of the year. My Tropicanna Gold is looking better than it ever has before and has a flower bud starting to emerge, so I should be able to bring this to you in next month's garden update. And my Canna Cleopatra is also growing nicely now, with its very distinctive red and green variegated foliage. My smaller pink flowering canna is producing plenty of flowers already, while my Canna Patens, which is always the first canna to flower each year, has gone to seed where I haven't been keeping up with the deadheading. I always end up with far too many seeds from this canna, so if you're in the UK and you want some, please send me an email. I'll just ask for postage costs to be covered. Crocosmia Lucifer looks absolutely splendid, with masses of vibrant red flowers. I showed you last month that this was about to open, and it's only just starting to fade now, having looked magnificent throughout July. It wasn't much later that the Crocosmia Suzanna flowers started to open, with its tall spires of vibrant yellow flowers creating a lovely contrast to the red of the Lucifer. I have several other Crocosmia which have self-seeded around the garden, which are smaller and produce orange flowers, and now I've found these ones, which are as tall as Lucifer and Suzanna, and I suspect the 2 plants have crossed naturally and self-seeded. I am also excited to have my first flower emerging on my Crocosmia Columbus. This variety is particularly spectacular before it opens, as the base of the flower appears purple in colour, contrasting nicely with the orange flowers. The giant red-hot poker Kniphofia Nobilis has had a large flower for most of July, although this got knocked down by the wind, but it has been shortly followed by more flowers which are looking spectacular. I even have a self-seeded Nobilis in the remains of the bed that I dug up last year, which is producing flowers for the first time this year. This will be available on Facebook Marketplace once it's finished flowering and had time to settle after being divided and potted up. There are smaller red hot pokers in my garden too, and this self-seeded variety is much smaller than my others and flowered for a longer period than my slightly larger orange variety, while my yellow Kniphofia has been flowering throughout July. My Lilium Tigerbabies was flowering at the start of the month. This is a beautiful, dainty lily with its apricot petals appearing almost freckled, and for some reason does not seem to be attracting the red lily beetle, which I always find on other lily varieties. This is definitely one of my favourites and contrasts completely with the towering Lilium Honeymoon, which has been gradually opening a flower at a time throughout this month and has the most amazing fragrance which just fills the garden. Acanthus Mollis is the other plant dominating the landscape of the garden at the moment, with its tall spires of purple bracts and white flowers. This is a great plant for a tropical garden, with large glossy green leaves, and is hardy to around -15 degrees C. I originally bought it 2 years ago, however, having taken out the bed that it was in and potted it up last year before moving it to its current location, it has been a bit unsettled, and this is the first time it has flowered. Gingers are a great plant to grow in a tropical garden, and although the variety you can buy in the supermarket is not hardy, there are several varieties which can be grown outdoors in the UK. I have a few of them in my garden, with Cautleya Spicata flowering now. This is a really tropical looking flower with its deep red or maroon bracts providing a striking contrast to the yellow flowers. This small ginger with a reddish stem is my Hedychium Assam orange, and together with the Hedychium Helen Dillon, they are still quite small as they're new plants I grew from seed earlier in the year. But both have just been potted up and I'm hoping to get a bit more growth from them in the coming months. And my Hedychium Forestii, which was grown from seed last year, has been growing quite slowly and is probably not in the ideal location, being quite dry and shady. But I wanted to keep it away from my other ginger varieties so they don't get mixed up. The Hedychium Densiforum and the Zingiber Mioga are both providing lovely clumps of lush tropical foliage, while in pots I have the variegated Zingibers, white feather with its subtle white streaks making it very attractive, and the dancing crane, which has much more pronounced variegated foliage. I have even had some more dancing crane pop up in the spot where it used to be planted before I removed the bed. Finally, I have the dark green foliage of the Hedychium Greenii and the Hedychium Gardnerianum, both of which will flower later in the year. At the back of the garden, my oleander is flowering and could easily be missed in this shadier part of the garden. Its lovely dark foliage is great for a tropical garden if you live in milder areas of the UK, while this variety has lovely pale salmon-coloured flowers. This year is the first time my Justica floribunda, or the Brazilian fuchsia, has flowered. Normally I find it a struggle getting this plant through winter indoors, and it's never in a good enough state to flower. However, the masses of tubular flowers are the reason I bought this plant, so I'm really happy to see it in bloom finally. My Lobelia Queen Victoria is loving the location I've planted it and is looking the best it ever has, with tall, vibrant red flowers complementing the maroon foliage. Next month I'll be able to show you this at its best, although the flowers may need supporting to keep them upright. And not content with waiting until Christmas, two of my amaryllis are now starting to flower. The beautiful Amaryllis Susan with its pale peachy coloured flowers, and this one which isn't labelled, so I'll have to wait for the flower to open to find out which variety it is. It tried to flower earlier in the month, but the wind knocked it off the table, snapping the flower spike. Unfortunately, the slugs also seem to love these flowers as much as I do, and all the flowers are looking quite well eaten. Finally, at the start of this month, we had a bit of excitement when a buzzard flew into our garden and appeared unable to fly away. After about an hour of trying to get advice from bird rescue charities, we went to get a cardboard box to take it to the vet. However, by the time we got back, it had managed to make its own way out the garden. Coming up next is competition time, and we've got the draw for last month's competition as well as the new competition for this month. Last month I announced my competition to win one Persicaria purple fantasy plant and one Persicaria red dragon plant, and I have 3 plants of each variety to give away in this competition. Now, this month there are only 5 names to enter into the Wheel of Names, and we're going to be drawing this 3 times, so good luck to everybody who entered. Congratulations to Catherine Grimes, you are the first winner of the Persicaria plants. And we're going to spin again. Congratulations, Amanda Jane Stewart, you're the second winner of our Persicaria plants. And we have one final spin. Good luck, everybody. And congratulations GC4434, you're my final winner today. Congratulations to all my prize winners. Please email your postal address to freyastropicalgarden@gmail.com. Thank you to everyone who entered this competition. Keep watching for details of how you can enter my next competition coming up. Hibiscus Syriacus is a deciduous shrub also known as Rose of Sharon and flowers from July to September with trumpet-shaped flowers in shades of white, pink, blue or purple. It is hardy in UK gardens, thriving in full sun and well-drained soil. It is tolerant of drought once established and is perfect for low-maintenance borders or containers. It should be pruned in late winter to early spring to maintain shape and encourage flowering. It is great for attracting bees and butterflies and is resistant to urban pollution too. I have a beautiful deep pink flowering variety of Hibiscus Syriacus in my garden, and in this month's competition I'm giving away one Hibiscus Syriacus plant. So if you want to be in with a chance of winning this plant, here is what you need to do. The competition is free to enter for UK residents. So to enter, all I ask is that you comment below, I live in the UK. The competition closes on Friday the 16th of August and the draw will take place in episode 8 of Freya's Tropical Garden. Please make sure you're subscribed to this channel and turn on notifications so that you don't miss the draw. And good luck to everybody who enters. Next up, we've got the next part of my Kew Gardens series where we're taking a look at the Princess of Wales Conservatory and we're going to take a look at the tropical and temperate fern zones. Kew Gardens is located in Richmond in London. It was founded in 1759 by the mother of King George III and has grown to house the largest and most diverse botanical collections in the world, with over 50,000 plants growing in a range of different conditions, including several tropical and exotic plants growing in the many glasshouses. The Princess of Wales Conservatory was opened in 1987 by Princess Diana and has 10 computer-controlled climate zones, including the Tropical Rainforest Zone, the Tropical and Temperate Fern Zones, the Tropical and Temperate Carnivorous Plant Zones, and the Temperate and Tropical Orchid Zones. This video will take a closer look at the temperate and tropical fern zones. The temperate fern zone is located near the rear entrance to the conservatory, and the temperature and humidity are maintained to suit those species that grow naturally in more temperate areas of the world. Maclania cordifolia, or the heart-leaved Maclania, is an evergreen shrub native to the cloud forests of Mexico to Costa Rica. It has broad green leaves and attractive red and white tubular flowers. It is epiphytic, growing on trees. Therefore, in soil it requires good drainage and infrequent watering, but prefers bright, indirect light and high humidity. It can tolerate light frost, but should be kept above 15 degrees C for optimal growth. Moratia purpurescens is also known as Tisana purpurescens and is a fern native to Ascension Island in the southern Atlantic Ocean, where it's critically endangered. The fronds can grow up to 1 metre long, with dark green leaves and purplish colour to the leaf stalk. This fern is being cultivated by Kew for conservation purposes. Selaginella kraussiana brownii is commonly known as Krauss's spike moss and is native to southern Africa. It is prized for its moss-like appearance, forming mounds of bright green foliage, which make it ideal for use in bottle gardens. It grows best in full or partial shade and loamy, acidic, moist but well-draining soil, and should not be kept below 5 degrees C in winter. Cyathea dealbata, or Alstroemeria tricolor, is commonly known as the silver tree fern and is native to New Zealand. It can grow up to 10 metres in height, with fronds up to 3 metres long and 1 metre wide. It prefers sandy or loam-based, acidic or neutral soil and can be grown outdoors in warmer parts of the UK in a mild, sheltered spot, with minimum temperatures of -5 degrees C. Arachneodes chilensis is commonly known as the Chinese arachneodes and is native to China and Taiwan. It's a creeping fern with fronds that can grow up to 1.2 meters long and in optimal conditions can spread to around a meter wide. It grows best in a shady spot with moist, neutral to acidic soil and can be grown outdoors in the UK. Adiantum formosum is commonly known as the giant maidenhair and is a fern native to Australia and New Zealand. It can grow 2 meters tall and has black stems that can reach up to 90 centimeters in length, while wedge-shaped leaflets resemble the leaves of a ginkgo tree. It can be grown outdoors in milder areas of the UK in a shady spot with moist, well-drained soil. Dicksonia fibrosa is commonly known as the golden tree fern and is native to New Zealand. It grows around 6 meters tall with fronds 2 meters long. It's hardy down to around -6°C, so can be grown outdoors in milder areas of the UK, but can be better suited to some UK gardens than Dicksonia Antarctica, as it is more tolerant of exposure. Coniagramm or the Japanese bamboo fern, is a clump-forming fern native to China. It has glossy green and yellow leaves with striking stripe pattern, giving it a very tropical look. It prefers full or part shade and a sheltered position, but will need protection from slugs when young. It's hardy through most of the UK. Begonia foliosa is native to the cloud forests of Peru, Colombia and Venezuela. It's a shrub-like plant which can grow up to 1 meter in height with arching branches of small bright green leaves and producing small white or pink flowers. It grows best in moist, well-draining soil and full or part shade, but is not frost-hardy but will grow well indoors in pots with indirect light. The tropical fern zone is located next to the temperate fern zone at the rear of the Princess of Wales Conservatory. The upper tier can also be accessed from the tropical orchid zone or the tropical rainforest zone. This zone is controlled to suit plants that prefer higher temperatures and higher humidity. Angiopteris angustifolia is also known as Angiopteris palmiformis and is a large fern native to Malaysia and the Philippines, where it grows naturally in warm, wet forests. Known for its large, impressive fronds which can grow up to 7 meters long, it's one of the largest ferns in the world. It does not like temperatures below 13°C, but can be grown in pots indoors. Hemianitis acariorum is also known as Doryopteris palmata and is a clumping fern native to Mexico. It has thick, leathery, dark green fronds with a distinctive shape resembling an open hand, while sterile fronds resemble the leaves of a maple tree. Grown indoors, it prefers indirect light, moist, acidic to neutral soil, and high humidity. Alocasia amazonica, or the African mask plant, is a hybrid of Alocasia longiloba and Alocasia sandriana, both native to Southeast Asia. Its striking dark green foliage is contrasted with white veins, while the underside of the leaf is typically burgundy. It grows best indoors with bright, indirect light, high humidity, consistently moist soil that should not get too wet, and regular fertilizer. Microsorum musifolium crocodilis is commonly known as the crocodile fern or banana leaf fern, and it's native to Malaysia. Its lush green leaves have an almost reptile-like appearance due to the dark veins. It's an epiphytic fern, meaning its roots do not need soil, and therefore prefers high humidity, a loose potting mix such as orchid mix, and plenty of indirect light. Blechnum morii is commonly known as Moore's hardfern and is native to Australia. It can grow to a height of 1 or 2 meters, forming a trunk with fronds growing up to 2 meters long and deep green in colour. It prefers moist shade and can tolerate temperatures down to around -7°C or lower, although fronds can be damaged by frost. Pinunga coronata is commonly known as the ivory cane palm and is a clumping palm native to Southeast Asia. Its cream-coloured trunk gives it its nickname, while its long, feather-like fronds can grow to around 1.5 meters long. In the UK, it can be grown as a houseplant, preferring high humidity, consistently damp soil and bright, indirect light. Davallia denticulata, or the rabbit's foot fern, is a widespread fern native to Asia and Australia. Its long, creeping rhizome is covered in scales, resembling a rabbit's foot, while tripinnate, or 3 times divided, fronds give the fern a lacy appearance. It is epiphytic, often found growing on trees or on rocks. In the UK, this can be grown indoors in bright, indirect light and high humidity. Chibottium regale, or the Royal Mexican tree fern, is a tree fern native to South America. It can grow up to 6 meters tall, and frond bases are covered in these creamy white hairs, making it a very attractive plant. It prefers a shady spot and moist, slightly acidic soil. Move indoors over winter into a room with high humidity or mist regularly. Cocothrinax miraguama, or the miraguama thatch palm, is native to Cuba. It is a solitary stemmed palm that can grow anything between 1 and 15 meters tall, with leaves 1.5 meters wide. It grows best in full sun or partial shade, in well-draining soil, and can tolerate lows of -3 degrees C with occasional light freezes, but can be grown in pots and brought indoors for winter. Bulbitis singaporensis is not a definitively accepted name for this fern, which is native to Malaysia. Bulbitis ferns are often grown at the edge of a water source, or even fully submerged in water, and can be used in aquariums. It therefore prefers high humidity and lots of water, but care should still be taken not to let soil become wet, and it prefers low or medium level indirect light. Asplenium bipinnatifidum, or the cut-leaf spleenwort, is native to Fiji and the Solomon Islands. It's a lacy-looking fern which reproduces by forming buds that grow into runners with small plantlets. It's epiphytic, growing on trees, and can be grown indoors in the UK with bright indirect light, high humidity, and well-draining soil. Adiantum edgeworthii is a variety of maidenhair fern native to the Himalayas. It is a clumping fern which can grow up to 24 inches in height, with fronds bearing small fan-shaped leaflets. It grows best indoors in indirect sunlight and moist, well-draining soil and high humidity, but should be protected from cold drafts and dry air. Stenoclana tenuifolia is commonly known as the giant vine fern and is native to Africa. It is an unusual climbing fern which naturally climbs up trunks or fibrous plants and can grow up to 20 meters long. It grows best with high humidity, consistent moisture, and indirect sunlight, and can be pruned to help it maintain its shape. Next up, we're going to take a look at 15 hardy foliage plants that will look good in any tropical garden in the UK. This video has been created to provide inspiration for some hardy plants that will help achieve a tropical look in a UK garden. If you haven't yet seen my previous video, my top 10 hardy foliage plants for a tropical garden, the link is in the description, and it's worth a watch as I have not repeated any of those plants here. I've also included the link for my video 21 palm trees that can grow outdoors in the UK, as I've also not included these in this video. So let's take a look at another 15 hardy foliage plants. Cynara cardunculus is commonly known as the cardoon and is a clump-forming perennial which can tolerate lows of -10 degrees C. It has large, silvery, thistle-like leaves that grow to around 1 metre in length and makes a fantastic ornamental plant. It produces large purple thistle-like flowers in late summer and autumn. It grows best in full sun in most types of soil. Melianthus major, or the honeybush, is another stunning architectural plant with large blue-green leaves that can grow 1/2 metre long. It's hardy in most of the UK, although it will die back to ground level in colder areas. In spring, it can produce reddish-brown flowers if the foliage has not been cut back by winter frost. It prefers full sun and will grow in most soil types. Roldener petersitis is commonly known as the Californian geranium and is a shrub that can grow up to 1.8 metres tall with large, soft, hairy leaves and clusters of yellow, daisy-like flowers produced in winter to early spring. It grows well in full sun or partial shade and can tolerate some drought but will need shelter from strong winds. It's hardy to around -10 degrees C. Tree ferns are a great addition to a tropical garden, particularly for adding interest at the higher levels, although they are slow growing, and therefore it's better to purchase them at the desired height. In milder areas of the UK, there are a few varieties that may grow well, but the hardiest varieties in the UK are the Cyathea australis, which can tolerate temperatures to around -10 degrees C, and Dicksonia Antarctica, which can be grown in most of the UK, although fleece protection may be needed in winter to protect them from the harsh frosts. Ferns are a great addition to a tropical garden, and there are lots to choose from. Aspilenium scolopendrium is hardy throughout the UK, and Blechnum chilensis is hardy in most of the UK, both with glossy, tropical-looking foliage. Anthurium niponicum is a great choice if you're looking for colour contrast. And some ferns, like Dryopteris lepidopoda, look stunning when young fronds emerge orange in colour. Curtomium fulcatum, or the holly fern, can be grown in milder areas of the UK. Cordyline australis is commonly known as the cabbage tree and is a great palm-like option to grow in UK tropical gardens. It can grow up to 20 metres tall, with sword-like leaves that can be green, red or pink. However, the green variety is the hardiest, surviving temperatures down to around -8 degrees C. Cordyline australis, red star or purpurea will grow well in milder areas of the UK, while pink varieties like Charlie Boy may struggle in all but the mildest areas of the UK. Voodoo lilies are a great plant to grow in a tropical garden with their unusual leaves and strange exotic-looking flowers, and there are several varieties that can be grown in UK gardens, including Sauromatum venosum, which is hardy in most of the UK, and the Indian giant variety has much bigger leaves. Dracunculus vulgaris can be grown in much of the UK with mulch protection over winter, and Amorphophallus bulbifera can survive outdoors in milder areas of the UK with a good mulch. Farfugium japonicum aureomaculatum is a great plant to grow in a moist, shady spot and is hardy to at least -10 degrees C if given mulch over winter. Its large, glossy leaves are speckled with yellow variegation, making this a very attractive option. Farfugium japonicum wavy gravy is another great variety that prefers partial shade if you live in milder areas of the UK, with its unusual foliage looking almost like giant parsley. Fig trees are surprisingly hardy in the UK, particularly varieties like Ficus brown turkey, with large, deeply lobed leaves and producing edible figs up to 10 centimetres in length. It is hardy to around -10 degrees C, and Ficus Brunswick is hardy to around -15 degrees C, and it's a variety that will produce an abundance of fruit. They grow best in full sun in a sheltered position in neutral or alkaline soils. Hostas are fully hardy perennials that make a great addition to tropical gardens. They can range both in size and colour and grow best in moist soil with partial shade. They have a reputation for being susceptible to slugs and snails, but there are varieties with greater slug resistance, generally those with thicker, waxier leaves, such as Hosta T-rex or Hosta Siboldiana. There are several varieties of yucca which are hardy in the UK. Yucca gloriosa is commonly known as the Spanish dagger, with rigid sword-shaped leaves and can survive temperatures down to -20 degrees C, while Yucca flaccida is similar in terms of hardiness, but with less rigid drooping leaves. Yucca rostrata is hardy to at least -15 degrees C and is a striking plant with its much thinner silvery blue leaves giving it an almost grassy appearance. Yucca carnarissana is hardy to around -10 degrees C, but should be protected from winter wet. Smolanthus maculatus is a tall perennial which can grow to 1.5 meters tall in a single season, with an attractive mottled stem and large green leaves. It produces yellow daisy-like flowers in late summer to autumn and can be grown in most of the UK, dying back to ground level and re-emerging in spring, although it may need mulch protection in colder areas. Phormium tenax, or the New Zealand flax, is a great hardy plant for UK gardens and can withstand wind and salt spray. It is a large clump-forming evergreen plant that can grow to between 2 and 4 meters tall, growing best in full sun or partial shade. Phormium cookianum is another great variety which is hardy in most of the UK, although slightly smaller, growing to around 1.5 meters tall. Scheffleras are shrubs or trees with dark, glossy green, tropical-looking foliage. Although not all varieties are hardy, Schefflera rhododendrofolia is hardy to around -10 degrees C, and a mature Schefflera taiwaniana can also gain resistance to temperatures of up to -10 degrees C, although providing mulch around the roots and fleecing the branches in winter may be advisable if temperatures drop below around -5. There are several grasses and reeds that look good in a tropical themed garden, especially if you're avoiding using invasive bamboos. Most varieties of miscanthus, such as the Sinensis gold bar, is fully hardy in the UK. Arundodonax is hardy in most of the UK, although it may need mulching over winter, and the variegated variety is slightly less hardy. Cortaderia celoana, or pampas grass, is hardy throughout the UK, but take care not to plant it next to paths as the leaf edges can be sharp to brush against. Well, that's all we've got time for today. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Please do leave your comments below, and I'll see you next time on Freya's Tropical Garden. If you've enjoyed watching this video, please consider subscribing and turn on notifications. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, or X for video updates as well as my flower of the day. And you can email me at freyastropicalgarden@gmail.com. Don't forget to check out my website at freyastropicalgarden.co.uk where you can find a range of information, including public gardens that I've visited and information on plants that have been shown on my videos. I've had so much fun making this video, but if you'd like to make a contribution towards running costs, you can do so via PayPal.